In Transfiguration class, wizards are supposed to transfigure animals into objects. What do you think happens to those animals once they are transfigured into objects? And how unethical is this practice?
Again, never thought of this. Why do you have to point it out?
I'm sorry. I'm simultaneously giving you guys joy of Harry Potter and making you hate this at the same time. Because they are only supposed to be doing small little things right now. Like they did beetles into buttons or something like that. They did some kind of beetle because Ron squished
bugs don't
his.
matter. I'd rather, yes, I'm fine with bugs.
But don't you think the 7th years, the 6th years are transfiguring actual animals into objects?
Yeah, but then they go back.
I was going to say, hopefully they turn them back.
Wait,
Or
how
it just
far
expires.
out
It
does
only
this
lasts
go?
so
How
long,
many
maybe.
years is it?
Hogwarts is 7 years.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah. No one really knows that.
Something?
There's 7 books, so there's 7 years.
So they're not really ending in high school. They're going past.
They're young because they start at 11.
Oh, that's right.
They start at 11,
So it's like middle
6th
school and
grade.
high school together.
All right,
Yeah.
never mind. Okay, I'm caught up.
But I feel like for every animal they turn into a thing, they're also turning things into animals, maybe? Because isn't that another part of their
wash.
classes where they're like, I want to turn this little rock into a groundhog?
Is that like soul creation? Where's the ethics in that? Because if you're turning something into a living object, first of all, are you actually able to do that? And second of all, what are the ethics behind that?
You know what? I'm thinking they're not really real. They're just similar to the way the frog could jump. We're talking kids magic. This is a chocolate frog, but it has enough magic to look like a real frog. So what if adult magic, when you get more advanced, you're turning some kind of thing into an animal, but it's not really an animal. You're just making it look like an animal to anyone who's watching.
I like that.
That makes me feel
Let's go
better
with
about
that.
it. Like you probably couldn't actually then kill the animal and make a steak. You know what I mean? It's not like it doesn't
It's just
doesn't go all the
magic
way.
inside when you cut into it. There's nothing there.
But then, if you turn a beetle into a button, is it still a beetle?
No, and I'm fine with that because I hate
children's
bugs.
Yeah, it sounds like a weird one.
That's how
When
I'm
you
gonna.
make a beetle a button.
That's how I'm gonna start the podcast. The podcast is gonna be any. If you turn a beetle into a button, is this still a beetle? All right, welcome to our podcast. I'm John.
Jen,
We'll do that right now.
Are we going with it?
Welcome to our podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Today we are going over chapters 6 through 10 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Our snack for today was English toffee. The music is by Jacob Petrus. The design is by Zachary Rupert. And please give this podcast a rating and review. That helps the podcast so much. We'd be so appreciative if you gave this a good rating and gave us a review so we can read some of those reviews on live. Enjoy the podcast. Okay, we are on to chapter 6. This chapter is Jen's favorite chapter. It's called Gilderoy Lockhart. This chapter starts out with our very own Ron getting a howler.
Oh, that was great.
And there's a funny line of dialogue. "You better open it, Ron," said Neville in a timid whisper. It'll be worse if you don't. My gran sent me one once, and I ignored it, and..." He gulped. "It was horrible." What do you think Gran's howler was about? And do you like the idea of howlers too? Like,
Yeah.
For example, Jen, in the last podcast we talked about I keep going off. In the last podcast we talked about someone sending you an apology letter. Would you like to respond by sending them a howler?
Oh my.
Brilliant.
Actually, in this situation, that would have been perfect. Oh boy.
I guess it's the equivalent as like an angry voice memo.
Yep. I think they're great, especially for parents to kids.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's good. And then it embarrasses them
Right. Makes them think
in
twice.
front of everyone.
What do you think Neville's Gran was mad about him? Oh, mad.
Probably
think, Gran?
anything.
He probably like accidentally broke something really
Oh, poor Neville.
fragile. Right? Like
I
he
feel
didn't
like his
do
grandma's like yelling at him. I'm like trying to defend Neville. This like we didn't even see this happen, but I'm like, how dare you howl at Neville? And also, I feel like he would have shriveled even if it was a regular letter.
Yeah.
But a howler, He must have been crying under the table.
Oh my god.
Poor kid.
Poor Neville.
No wonder he's so timid. He was never
yeah.
given confidence by his family.
Yeah.
And then Harry came along.
I know. And Howler is definitely they do their job, because the next line it says at least the Howler had done one thing. Hermione seemed to think they had now been punished enough and was being perfectly friendly again.
It was good enough for Hermione.
I love that line.
That was great.
And
Went
then
back to normal.
yes. And then now we meet Lockhart for the first time on our way to herbology class. What are your thoughts on Lockhart?
I was going to say, he's a gem. That's sarcasm.
For anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I'm going to be devil's advocate a little bit because everyone hates him so much. And I don't hate him that much. So I think I'm going to lean into liking him a little bit. He's obnoxious.
Why?
Don't get me wrong. But I think it's all for the show. Just entertainment. You know? He's fun.
He's an
He's
entertainer.
so conceited.
Of course. But tons of people are. He's just very outward with how conceited he is.
It's a bad example for the kids.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And
but
he has a platform now. Like, that's just
he
terrible.
does kind of have a platform. The real question I have is he actually good at magic?
No.
I don't know yet. But I don't hate the guy.
I have to say too, he had a platform before Hogwarts. Hogwarts wasn't his platform. Hogwarts was just
that's
like
what I'm saying though. Like, he is this terrible character, and now he has a platform to share it with the world and especially the kids now. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean.
But could he possibly be so good at magic that, like, these chapters show that he has like flaws, that he can't do some basic stuff, and that he seems like a fraud. Most of the teachers think he's a fraud. But he wrote all these books about abandoning the abandoned banshee.
He's a great storyteller.
So you think
But
that's it? He's just a really good storyteller.
And did he
Yeah.
write them?
Oh.
I was just thinking that.
You know, that's a good point, because I'm at least picturing him being a good storyteller, and that's something.
Yeah, that's something.
But if he didn't write them, then that takes away the only thing.
Maybe he's really good at spells with the quill pen.
Write me a good
there you
story.
go.
Wrote everything for him.
But then that would also prove he's pretty good with some spells.
Yeah,
Just
seriously.
that one.
That one spell he
Just that
perfected.
one
It took his whole life to perfect the
minuscule spell to write stories. Is that really that great?
I guess you're right.
Lockhart is obviously very conceited too. There's another funny line in here where he goes, I mean, a few people have heard of you, haven't they? All that business with he who must not be named. He glanced at the lightning scar on Harry's forehead. I know. It's not quite as good as winning Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award 5 times in a row, as I have. But it's a start, Harry. It's a start.
I mean, he's comparing himself to a child. Come on, dude.
But
Like,
also, he's got to humble Harry a little bit. You know, put him back.
somebody's got to humble this man. He's a grown
who's gonna
man.
do that?
He's deeply insecure.
Danny,
We can
I am
all
not
see
getting
that.
on board.
Yes.
I'm not getting on this train.
I don't expect you to, but I feel like I got to stick up for him a little bit. You know, he's seeking validation he never got as a child.
Oh, for
Yeah.
crying
You
out
know,
loud.
he was overweight for a long time.
Yes.
He lost the weight. He finally started getting girls in college. No one at Hogwarts liked him.
Is
But
his
then-
hair even real?
And
It's
all the
probably
girls
a
in
wig.
this
You know
room are
what?
pissed
He
right
at
now.
least did a hair spell. Oh, you know what? That actually comes up in the chapter because they go into his office and all of his pictures were taking out curlers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so does that mean even the pictures have to do their hair? That's kind of obnoxious.
That is annoying.
That
That is really annoying.
That's why my hair dryer was a great
Yep, I'm with you on that.
whatever the answer to your question in the last one.
But this could be something interesting too, that like even like Michael Jordan is a conceited human being. Conor McGregor is a conceited human being. There are people who are conceited human beings, and they can back it up because they're the greatest at whatever they do. Michael Jordan's the
Right.
greatest basketball player of all time. And we don't know that about Gilderoy Lockhart yet. He
Right.
could be. Maybe he's in a slump. Maybe he goes to Hogwarts and he's like in a bad slump right now and he can't. Kristen, your eye literally twitched when I said that.
The anger.
But maybe like pitchers go in slump. So maybe he's in a magic slump right now and he really has gotten rid of the abandoned banshee and he's spent a year with a Yeti and he's done all these things, but he's in a bad slump. So he goes to Hogwarts to relearn some of this stuff. He's actually going there possibly to like figure out how to get out of this slump.
And I feel like some of the stuff he says is very absurd, but he almost says it with a twinkle in his eye. I'm like, I kind of feel like he understands that it's absurd.
Our studio audience is shaking their heads at me viciously.
Yes.
He reminds me of those guys who are really insecure and are just looking for an ego flex, and then
Yeah.
soon their heads will be so big that they can't fit through the door. Like, that's Gilderoy Lockhart. As soon as hair will grow. And his head.
I'm also thinking of Hunger Games. I forget that dude who's like the host of the
Oh.
show, but I kind of pictured him like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really hope Stanley Tucci plays him in the movie. 'cause
Ooh.
that would
Oh
be
my
great.
gosh.
That would be great.
But I kind of doubt it.
Stanley Tucci would be great in
He
that
would
role.
be.
Wow, that would be so fantastic. Stanley
Just time
Tucci, you don't
will
know who
tell.
Stanley Tucci is?
Have you seen The Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah, Devil Wears Prada.
He's the he's the
bald
guy.
designer.
Yeah, who's supposed to get the job at the end.
Oh.
The main guy.
Wait, you want him to be
He's
who?
also one of the villains in Beethoven. So.
Yes.
I mean,
know
he's
that.
been
One
so
of the main
much.
villains in Beethoven.
Oh yeah.
Wait, Beethoven, like the kid movie.
Excuse me, the movie.
I was gonna say that's going back a while.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Great movie.
All
I'm
right.
sure you watched that.
Anyway, in their first, so they go to their first herbology lesson, and I just wanted to say this: Hermione won 20 points in 20 seconds by answering 2 questions correctly.
Right.
Of course.
Yet Ron and Harry won a collective 5 points for defeating a fully grown mountain troll in their first year.
In 2 seconds, she won 10%
Yes.
of the entire year's worth of points that the lowest team had last year.
Oh my gosh!
How insane
Great.
is that? It makes no sense.
That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd.
Side note, how do they keep track of these points? Like, who's actually taking them away and putting them in?
Yeah, we were talking about this. I think it's done
Did
by
we?
magic. I think we talked about this maybe off
Yeah.
podcast.
I don't remember if
think
it
it was
was on or off. Well, you would have come across it if it was
I
on.
don't remember it actually.
It might have been after. But yeah, we talked about it a little bit. We were just theorizing. They have the hourglasses outside
Yeah.
of the main hall, but we were saying there must be a bookkeeper who's keeping people in check and kind of saying, you know, you're giving out too
Yeah.
many points.
Like there's a possibility that the teachers have to report their points because in these chapters, our very own Percy takes away points.
That
So
I marked
prefects-
that down.
That's
I don't
right.
think he did.
It was just
I
a little
think he was
empty
bluffing.
threat.
He's like, you know what?
An
He's getting too
empty
big for his
threat.
britches, and he's like, I can do points, even though he definitely
Yeah,
can't.
and that's that's Percy's personality too.
Classic
He thinks
Percy.
he's better than what he actually is.
Oh man.
Oh, also, is this the Professor Sprout who? Oh no, it's Sprout, not Spore. Never mind. Who wrote the book that they had to buy in the
no.
first year?
Maybe a relative.
Just
Sounds-
some really fitting names for
Yeah, I know.
herbology.
Seriously, I know. Professor Sprout, like that's the best. But there just needs to be some kind of regulation on these points. It's a little absurd.
Is there any thought behind the lower you are in school, the less you impact the points? Because that's what I was thinking. Like, no matter what, if you're a first year, anything you do is like 5 or 10 points, you
Yeah.
know, little stuff. And then as you go on, you have more impact.
I like
That's
that
what I was
idea.
thinking, but I guess we'll see.
Or for more serious things, you get better points. Like taking out a fully grown mountain troll should be 50 points.
yeah. No
And
matter
answering
what.
a question in a class, it shouldn't be 10 points or 5 points. I feel like if you answer a question right in class, the regulation should be 1 point. Because I feel like Hermione gets 50 points a day just by answering questions right in classes.
Maybe that's like by the book though.
Yeah, but that's
So
what I'm
to
saying. We need a book
But the-
that regulates.
No, but I'm saying like think about school. They were not supposed to go by the troll. They broke the rules technically. They went against the word that they were given, so they couldn't be awarded too many points because they didn't want to reward not listening. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I can.
Actually, we have to pay attention now going forward. If anything is small, when it's like illegal for students to do,
Yeah.
and then if it's Hermione,
Seriously,
Yeah. 'Cause
there
like,
you go. You could start your
we're
little.
going to
book.
start the book. Thank you, Jen. That is
You're
brilliant.
welcome.
Jen rolling her eyes at me. Okay, what are our thoughts on Colin Creevy?
He's annoying.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, guys.
This is me and Danny defending people.
lovable.
Jen
Yeah.
impersonating
I mean, he's
on
a
people.
cute little kid, but like, I feel for Harry because it's
Yeah.
like this little. This is gonna sound so mean. It's like a little gnat. Like he's just always there.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's cute. He's he's like
just a
starstruck.
big admirer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Harry because he gets like frustrated.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
yeah.
so random to me that I'm like, he has to have some kind of meaning or character to be by Harry all the time for the next few chapters.
I think
It just seems too weird.
I think this character specifically, like if I look at this in like literature, seems to be a good character that makes Harry more human. If Harry just got along with him really well, he would almost be unattainable. Like, I don't really relate to this person. In the first book, he has righteous anger against Malfoy, against bad things, against people that he thinks are wrong. He's a very pure individual in the first book. This one brings it down to a level that's relatable, where Colin Creevey, a person who's annoying that technically Harry should love because he's a pure of heart person, he finds incredibly annoying. So I think it makes him more relatable.
So true.
Yeah.
But I am a Colin Creevey fan here. I would be asking for Colin Creevey's autograph. But on that point, do you think Harry should sell these signed pictures and give the Weasley family money?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, good. He should give them money.
Yes. There's practical ways he can make money right now, like signed pictures. Who among us in this room, if Harry Potter signed a picture for us, would not buy that?
I mean, you would.
Yeah. Don't put it on me, Kristen.
Yeah, seriously.
The one with the wand and the robes.
What the?
I just have the books. You have the robes and the wand.
How many versions of the books do you have, though?
Less than him.
No, I'm talking about him.
Oh,
I was looking at you, but I meant him. Sorry.
Jen, you guys keep hating on me for this stuff, but you know how fast
I
you're
like
reading
your
through
picture
these books?
They might go missing one day.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty much it.
It
It reminded me of the Red Panda or what the
That Disney
Pixar.
movie?
Yeah, that we watched. Remember? They were
Yeah.
signing all the pictures to make
great memory.
Oh, that's
money.
right.
It's a great memory.
Yeah.
But just remember, you have to remember that Gilderoy Lockhart stated clearly in chapter 12 that his ideal birthday gift would be harmony between all magical and non-magical people.
That's BS.
Though he wouldn't say no to a large bottle of Ogden's Old Fire whiskey.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, now I know why you wanted that.
We were hoping to have fire whiskey this one, but alas. So maybe he's legit about that. Maybe he really does think he wants harmony between all people. But anyway, we're on to chapter 7.
That
One
sounds
quick
like
thing that I liked
Yes.
is when he was going through his all of his accomplishments, Lockhart, he mentioned like Order of the Merlin and Third Class and all this other stuff. But the one that intrigued me the most, honorary member of the Dark Force Defense League.
Oh
Like,
my
who are
gosh.
these dudes?
Seriously.
Oh, boy.
They're like the Navy SEAls.
Oh
I'm
my
like, I don't know
gosh.
who these dudes are, but I want to meet them. These are like the wizard pros out there.
I cannot wait till we get to the end of these books and we can talk about like who would you want on your like starting 5 team of Wizards. It's gonna be
Yeah.
so much fun to
man.
talk about that.
But I just want this wizard SWAT team to come flying in at some point.
Imagine
anyways.
the Navy SEALs of Wizards. That would
Yeah.
be so cool.
Again, that little paragraph I was circling because I'm like, again, showing how big the wizard world is. We just got a little glimpse.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, now we can move on. Sorry.
All right, chapter 7. Mudbloods and murmurs. I shouldn't say that word. The M word and murmurs. This someone give me a quick summary of this chapter. This one's a very involved chapter.
I was gonna say there was a lot.
I like kind of forget the beginning of. Is this when?
sorry.
Yeah, go.
Gryffindor has their first Quidditch practice, but is interrupted by Slytherins and eventually ruined when Malfoy calls Hermione the M word. Ron's attack on Malfoy backfires, sending them to Hagrid's for help. And then Ron and Harry pay their dues in detention where Harry hears a strange voice.
All right, good.
Yes. Now I remember. Thank you.
Yes, Kristen, you're crushing it. This is great.
I mean, I'm taking tips from you. Summarizing, writing them down as we go.
All right, what do we think of our captain, Oliver Wood? Is he a
He's
bit
intense.
much?
Yeah. It's a lot. Practicing no matter what, like in weather, crack of dawn, or is it late? I don't remember.
Crack of dawn.
Crack of dawn.
This one's Crack of Dawn.
And then he gets really upset that Slytherin is there. Is that this one?
Yeah, for
'cause
sure.
That's where the altercation begins.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Do you guys think on Quidditch, do you think it's a skill-based game or is it more so the equipment that you buy? Because in this one, In this whole section of chapters, the Weasleys are nervous, the Weasley twins, because they see the Slytherins practicing and they just look like blurs. If you just have a better broom, aren't you just a better team?
Yeah, I was going to say, especially even for a seeker. Because it's like if you both see it at the same time, whoever's got the fast, I mean, I guess it does take skill, but the faster broom is going to get there first.
I have to imagine too, like the snitch probably performs certain like turns that awards better flyers, I guess. Because there's definitely like better flyers, like if we're talking about the Army or the Air Force, there's definitely people who are more naturally gifted at flying than others.
Yeah. I feel like everyone across the board should have the same brooms.
Yeah.
That would be
That would
a
be
great
fair.
regulation. That would be so good. Everyone has to have the same boards, brooms, so this becomes a even match. I love that. Rule number one.
I'm just picturing if they made like a Quidditch sports movie though. You know, like that ragtag team. They don't have the equipment.
Seriously.
They're just like doing their thing. They're playing with heart. So I think the equipment matters, but there's more important stuff. And Gryffindor's got the more important
That would
stuff.
be a great movie. Oh my gosh. Like the Mighty Ducks of Quidditch.
Sorry.
You pull
I'm
this
just here
ragtag
watching it
bunch of
every
people.
day.
Oh my.
There's this this isn't a spoiler at all. Actually I'm not gonna say this because I potentially would say a spoiler.
Respect.
So I'm sorry.
That was
I'll tell it
quite the loaded
in the
sentence.
7th book after we finish the 7th movie.
Are you gonna remember?
Remind me of
Familiar.
this. Yeah, for sure.
You remember ball?
And then on top of this, shouldn't it be illegal for a father to buy an entire team racing brooms? Like we're talking about this with McGonagall before, buying Harry a Nimbus 2000. I feel like it's even more illegal. Actually, no, maybe not more illegal, but he could buy one for his son, but I don't think he should be able to buy one for the entire team.
He had to, so Malfoy can get on the team.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Oh, it was a
All
bribe
right.
too. Yeah, I forgot.
Because Malfoy is probably not good.
No, he's actually not bad. In the first book, Harry sees him fly, and he's like, "Oh, he actually can back it up a little bit."
Flying,
Yeah.
but seeking is different.
Ooh, Jen getting into the detailed nuances of
Like-
Quidditch. I love this.
Yep,
You would be a good seeker.
I would be if I learned how to fly. But yeah, that would suck though. Like being on the team and you're like, oh, we're actually going to win this year. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, they all have the fastest brooms ever?
Like for sure, the keeper takes skill for sure. If you have a better racing broom, it's better. The keeper or the beaters take skill too, Jen. And the chasers definitely take skill too. Like they're jobs that take skill. The seeker, I feel like maybe is a less skilled position, but it's also in Harry Potter. It seems like the most skilled position. It's like, oh, this is the penultimate person. But there's a line after this altercation happens too, and this is like the important line of this chapter. It says, "At least no one in the Gryffindor team had to buy their way in," said Hermione sharply. "They got in on pure talent." The smug look on Malfoy's face flickered. "No one asked your opinion, you filthy little mudblood," he spat. Ugh, sends shivers down your spine. And then Lockhart comes in the picture, and we talked about this a little bit before, but do you think anything Lockhart says is true?
No, I can't stand him.
So then, here's a question for you. Why did Dumbledore hire Gilderoy Lockhart?
Because no one else wanted that position.
Well, Snape did.
Nope. He originally...
Oh, he might not want it anymore.
Well, I don't know where... I forget where we are, but wasn't there... I had to have read it, so I think I could say it. It said that anyone who had taken that position ends up, like, dying or, like, disappearing. So I feel like now it has a reputation of that. So would Snape really want that now? I don't think so.
Or is Snape the one causing mysterious things to happen to open up the position he wants?
But he didn't take it.
Did he have the option to take it?
Yeah, there was no one. No one wanted it after Quirrell
Do you think that was
died.
Snape's option, or do you think it was Dumbledore? Maybe Snape, or maybe Dumbledore is prohibiting Snape from doing it.
Why?
That's what I thought. I thought Dumbledore didn't want him in that position.
Yeah.
And
They
he
would
is
pick
really good
Lockhart,
with potions.
who could hurt people, over Snape
Lockhart, who could hurt people.
because he doesn't know what the heck he's doing.
Oh, like just because he's silly and foolish.
Maybe it is like you have a the best potions master maybe in the world, and like you don't want to transfer him to dark art or defense against the dark arts, because while he might be good at that, he's like the best potions master in the world, so you want to keep him there. So even though he doesn't want to do that, Snape doesn't want to do that, maybe he's just too good at potions to not have him in that position.
I don't know. I like my theory better. Even though I didn't finish the book, so.
So this is how we learn too that mudblood is a really foul name for someone who is muggle born. You know, non-magic parents. There are some wizards like the Malfoy family who think they're better than everyone else because they're what people call pure blood. Then Hagrid talks about this little idea of him getting expelled. How do you think Hagrid got expelled, or why? Do you have any theories on why Hagrid got expelled?
He probably did something illegal with an animal.
With an animal. Oh, nice.
Keeping that in.
And I shouldn't have looked at you.
You guys, your little looks across
Your
the
co-workers. I know, guys, stop looking at each other. Just look at me when you say that.
Goodness.
It's really not okay. I'm corrupted from my coworkers. Take that out, please. Crop that.
So how do you think Hagrid got expelled?
I thought he did do something maybe illegal, but I don't know what it was. And something that I think came from a good place. Like he had a good heart about it. And then I thought maybe he had to get expelled. I also was trying to think of when Dumbledore took over and when Hagrid got expelled, and that timeline. Was it a previous headmaster? Maybe he even did something to help Dumbledore. Dumbledore comes to him and says, I need this, or can you get this out of the school for me? Or like something like along those lines, where it was to help a friend. And then in a more fun way, I thought maybe he was really tiny and he did some illegal spell on himself to make him huge.
Oh my god.
And then they're like, you are not allowed to do that. Or he had to steal a potion to do it or something.
Oh boy. Wow.
That's fantastic.
I like those. I came up with nothing.
Do. Well, also, could he have failed out and then do you get expelled, or
Maybe.
you just fail
It's an interesting theory.
because you can't spell anything?
Oh.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Pretty
such
basic.
a great point, Jen. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So, I don't know.
He literally couldn't spell. He
Like
got a
Kristen.
0 because he couldn't spell anything on his entire exam. And meanwhile, in these chapters, they have to write like 3 feet of parchment on something. This whole long essay, and
Oh,
he couldn't spell anything.
gosh.
So they're like, you know what? Let's just expel him. Poor guy.
Oh.
No.
And at the end of this chapter, what do you think the voice was, or where do you think it came from? What is this voice?
I just thought it was Voldemort. But I also was like, just don't listen to mysterious voices.
Yeah.
Like, why are you running after some strange voice? Amateur hour.
Yeah, seriously.
He loves to do that, though.
Yeah, it's
What's
classic Harry.
going on? I want to check it out.
Well, didn't... Oh, wait. Are we there yet?
That is in his blood, yeah. What?
Never mind.
I mean, we have to be there, right? Or no, not for you.
This is up to 10.
Yeah, like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think from now on. Like,
Well,
we
didn't
can
he
talk about
didn't he
anything
think
we
that
read.
it was whatever this voice was going to hurt somebody?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
thing
like-
said, kill,
Again-
let me kill, let me
Right,
tear,
right,
let
yeah.
me rip.
And
Yeah.
ultimately, it was, I guess, correct to chase it down and figure out, and they found the cat and all that stuff. But it still felt a little silly. Like when you hear a mysterious voice, you don't go chasing it.
I mean, that's Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but little boys wouldn't do that? You guys wouldn't do that?
Oh, not when
Definitely
I'm 11.
girls.
We're not little boys.
Or wait, is he 12 now?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, at that age,
Sometimes
it's
you act
definitely
like-
it's definitely scary. I mean, like I'm like the kind of person, even now, like not now, maybe now. Like when you run up the stairs, you're like turning on every light in the house because you're like terrified. And you run up the stairs where you like put the garbage away. I remember doing this, like putting the garbage in the trash can, and then like you sprint back to your house because you know
Yes.
someone's like behind you. So if I hear a voice in the castle, I am not looking back. I'm sprinting to Gryffindor Tower as fast as I can. I'm not looking back. Whoever is behind me. And this thing is terrifying too, because this voice is like a voice that seems like a phantom, like Harry is describing.
Yeah.
Like it's like just like going throughout the castle. Like it's kind of terrifying.
But he didn't know no one else could hear it, right?
He didn't know at this point.
Okay, that like makes a little more sense if he thinks it's like some big old voice. But once he realized that no one else could hear it, I think that changes something. Because then he should know that it feels like this voice is trying to manipulate him, and he should be resisting it.
Yeah.
But he's kind of falling right into it in a way.
He can't help himself.
He cannot help
He's
himself.
got to run straight toward the danger.
Yeah.
You know how last week we were doing the Forbidden Forest discussion, and I was like, how scary is the forest? So last night I went over to the woods by my house at like 10 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, woods isn't scary. And I just started walking into the woods for a little bit.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Terrifying. There's something so scary about it, and there aren't even unicorns in the woods. So I was just like, I like get a little ways in there, and I'm like, I mean, even if I had a boarhound with me, I would not be down with this. The woods is creepy as anything.
But if
Yeah.
you had a
Especially in the
boar,
dark.
you would feel
Well,
safer.
with a boar, of course,
Yeah.
then I'd be down.
I don't want to terrify you, but I heard this one story once of Ted Bundy. And
Good start.
and these two people were walking into the woods. It was a couple, and it was like a story about trusting your instincts. And they walked into the woods, and both of them felt like they shouldn't be walking into the woods, but they just kept walking a little bit. And all of a sudden they heard something, so they ducked down, and then they heard someone moving closer to them. So they both got up and they started to run. But as soon as the guy got up to run, he said he walked over something squishy and weird. And years later, when Ted Bundy got caught, they asked him in an interview, what was the closest you ever got to being caught? And he said, there was this couple that was going for a walk in the woods, and the husband tripped over 4 of my victims lying there.
Oh,
Isn't that
my
terrifying?
goodness.
I don't know the validity or reality of that story, but never walking in the woods at
my
night alone,
goodness.
ever.
Does that?
I was gonna say that I wouldn't
Except
do
for
it
Danny.
anyway. Like that, just except for Danny.
Well, a little night stroll.
Well,
in the
you
woods,
probably
you know how it
do,
goes.
no? Hiking?
Yeah, I mean that's hiking and backpacking. Usually at a campsite, you're kind of with other people too, so it's not quite as scary. But I've done it where I've had to camp on my own, and it is an ethereally terrifying experience.
You don't sleep.
Yeah, no thanks.
You can sleep, but like sleep is the thing that you do to like make the morning come faster. So you almost like force
How?
yourself to fall asleep.
How do you sleep like that?
Sounds horrible.
No.
It is scary. You get more used to it sometimes, and like there are like places that feel safer, but it is a scary experience. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, what is on a lighter note? What is the best or worst reason you ever got a detention? Because Harry gets a detention in this chapter.
I've never gotten
No.
detention.
Me neither.
Never.
What?
I would have been horrified if I ever got detention.
I got a detention, and Mrs. Danny won the record in 5th grade for getting detention.
That was 4th grade.
With Chris for not doing your spelling homework.
Well, see, back then detentions were easy because
Yeah.
Mrs. Burris, she did those little. It was like a French fry technique. You had your 4 fries on the side of your McDonald's little thing on the wall, and if you talked when you weren't supposed to, or you did something wrong, she drops one of the fries off. You only have 4, so by the end of the day, if all 4 fries are in, you got a detention. So, needless to say, I got a lot of detention.
For what?
my
What did
goodness.
you do?
No, mostly
not
just,
hand
like,
in
basic stuff.
homework?
Yeah, basic stuff, talking to
Talking too
people,
much.
whatever. Yeah, I did accidentally burn my friend Josh with a hot glue gun
I remember that.
during our Indian
Does he still have
project.
the scar?
and
What
is this?
He still has the scar.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, but he tried to defend me, but in the moment, I get it. I scarred him for life, so I got a detention. Literally. He was like, "No, he didn't mean to. It is fine."
I got a detention in Mrs. Hammond's class for not taking my jacket off or walking in her classroom with my jacket. She was just in a mood that day. So it was a rule that you couldn't walk into her class with a jacket. You got to hang it up because she just didn't like her class cluttered. So I remember walking into the class, and she was literally just like serving detentions. She was just writing on slips of paper. She was sitting at the door. I walked like 2 steps into her class with a jacket. She just handed me a detention slip.
Oh my gosh.
That's where you got your minimalist from.
Yeah, I became a minimalist after that. Said I will never wear a jacket again.
No detentions ever in life.
Wait, Jen, did you get detentions?
No.
Never, not even
I
one.
was a goody two shoes.
Oh yeah.
Not even a lunch
Rules
detention or anything.
Would not be broken.
Oh my!
No.
We're the same person.
Yeah.
So
That's
it makes
shocking.
sense.
Wow.
I'm also the firstborn, so
I'm not.
rule follower.
Yeah, but you're also a Gryffindor, so
I know.
That's why I don't know. That's true.
maybe you just never got caught.
Yeah.
Closer to Harry.
Yeah, I don't recall. Nope. I didn't talk in school.
I was gonna say you said like talking in class, and I was that kid that was like, "Stop talking,
Yep.
stop."
And then if they were
were
talking to
Hermione.
me, I'm like, shh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't. I'm not acknowledging you. Like that's not happening.
Great.
All right. The next chapter is the Death Day Party. What happens in this chapter?
They go to, oh gosh, the ghost name. Is it Pete? No, Nick. Nearly headless Nick's death party.
Yeah.
When he dies. And it's all ghosts at this party. And Harry is invited because he wants to show, I can't remember the guy's name. Nearly headless Nick wants Harry Potter there just to be like, to prove his character to this famous ghost. I don't know his name. And Ron and Hermione go with him, and they go to this party, and yeah.
Great.
That's
Perfect. That was one of the best descriptions, Jen. The chapter opens up by saying this. Ginny Weasley, or it doesn't open up, but it says Ginny Weasley, who had been looking peaky, was bullied into taking some by Percy. The peppering potion or something like that. So what is your guys' impression of Ginny, and what is your impression of Percy?
I don't remember this.
I don't really like Percy. He's just a little arrogant.
He's a little high on his horse.
But he's a kid. Like, he's clearly a good student. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to do the right thing.
Would that be us, Kristen?
Oh my gosh, probably.
Oh my goodness, you little prefects.
I know.
I was an RA in college.
Oh my gosh.
Not by choice.
And then how about this? Nearly headless Nick. He got hit 45 times in the neck with a blunt axe. And you'd think that would qualify him to join the Headless Hunt. But what do you think Nick did to warrant getting hit 45 times in the head or in the neck with an axe?
A very
excessive.
dull axe.
Dull axe. What do you think he did?
I don't know. Just
Like, who are these people? They're just normal people. This is where I get so confused with these ghosts. They're just some muggles, or are they wizards?
Wizards.
And I think we started to see in a spot or two here that some of these people have died here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what's her name?
Moaning
Myrtle.
Yeah, and then one of the professors.
And one of the professors. So I'm like,
Professor
did all these
Binns.
people die
Yeah.
here? So then I also thought, was nearly headless Nick, like a king of this castle? You know, was he a headmaster? Did he have a role at Hogwarts or before it became Hogwarts?
But like to be hit 45 times, that's a lot.
I was picturing a little Beauty and the Beast moment. He was the beast and they stormed the castle.
Wow.
This wizard up here. That's what I was thinking, but
That's fascinating. All right, the next one is when Harry goes into our very own Filch's office. And then there's a quick spell course there. And one of the testimonials of the quick spell course says that he could turn his wife into a yak with quick spell. Do you think it should be... Do you think that should be the testimonial for this company? And shouldn't that be illegal?
Probably. I don't like it.
great point.
And what would you turn the annoying person in your life into if you could turn them into anything? No, I'm just kidding.
A slug.
You answered that real quick.
Something gross.
Is this the person that was writing letters? You wrote
Ooh.
handwritten letters to? And then the way that Harry gets out of this is that Peeves drops a vanishing cabinet in the floor above. What do you think a vanishing cabinet is?
Like Mary Poppins' bag,
Ooh.
but a cabinet. Endless space. You throw it in there, it's gone. Not like gone, but just
Yeah.
like it doesn't actually sit there.
I like it.
I feel like you would have one of these, John, because you're a minimalist. So it's like throw everything in there that I don't need, vanishes.
It'd be nice, like if you had a closet where you could just throw everything into and it was gone.
Yeah, make your messes disappear.
Yeah, seriously.
But then you could call it out when you need it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But maybe not call it out. I feel like a vanishing cabinet is different.
Oh, really?
That-
It
'cause
can
this is
vanish
the
and
ex-
then come back.
Because there's a difference between the extension and the vanishing cabinet. The extension in the Weasley's car was you can call things back because it's just like a limited space. A vanishing cabinet, it's like perfect for minimalists. You throw something in, you ain't never seen that back.
It's just gone.
I would not like it then.
That's
Nope.
what I did with all my cards, my birthday cards. Toss them in there.
And before you wrote thank you cards.
Yes, before I wrote thank you cards. Okay, so walking through a ghost is very cold. Do you ever feel like you've walked through a ghost before?
Ugh. No, I don't like to think that way.
Yeah. No.
Next
like
question.
Wait, what about you two? You didn't answer. I feel like you're a yes and you're a
Yeah.
yes, but
I feel
because
like
of our
I've-
reaction, you're
I
like,
feel
I'm
like
not
I've walked
answering
through the
this.
opposite of a ghost, like whatever a heat wave is in like a specific moment. I feel like I've played soccer games where like I've been running and all of a sudden like a burst of heat will hit me. I don't know, maybe something like farted or something.
Literally.
Jen, our resident middle schooler over here.
I'm just thinking of like a pee spot in a pool.
yeah. Maybe they're not pee spots. Maybe they're ghosts going for a
Saying it out
swim.
loud and it hit him. He's like, oh,
Well, because you were giving him that look like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
let you get away with this. You know, like get the words out so I can make fun of you, please.
Oh my
that's
god.
all I do here.
Okay, but would you guys rather go to a death day party or a Halloween feast?
Halloween feast.
Jinx. Definitely a middle schooler.
When else are you gonna go to a
Yeah,
death day party?
agreed.
I was psyched for them. I'm like, who cares about food? This is maybe a one chance in your life. Who could say they went to a death day party?
Do you know me? I eat like every 5 minutes. I'm going to the Halloween feast.
But
you
the Halloween
cannot
feast is
bring
like
food
candy
with
and
you,
food that
you
will
know?
rot you.
I didn't
Oh.
think that they wouldn't have food at the ghost party.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking
But
about that
but
either.
They
didn't
had
they? And it
food.
smelled like
Oh,
rotten.
yeah. It's
It was just rotten. So one.
At first, I thought it would be cool. And then when they were describing it, I was like, that sucks. Get me out
Yeah.
fast.
I feel like it'd be interesting to go. I would want to go once. Like
Yep.
who
You would stay the whole time.
I mean, you've gone to Sir Nearly Headless Nick's death day, 600th death day party. That is a feat.
He's going to be alive forever.
Yeah, but you've gone to
Or
his
he's gonna be dead
600th
forever.
one.
I mean, that's what I meant.
he's gonna be dead forever. That's a great conundrum.
But also, I feel like when I'm reading from Harry's perspective, I'm thinking he has a lot of questions still, and he hasn't gotten that many answers. And you're hanging out with a dude who's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
He's been around longer than anyone else, even Dumbledore, right? Dumbledore's not even 600 yet.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention he was alive before that. So
Yeah.
who knows how old he was before he died. So I'm thinking, yeah, go to this thing, ask some questions, meet some people. Great opportunity.
Because Jenny, you even brought this up in previous podcasts. Where are Harry's parents if they're not ghosts? Like if all
yeah.
wizards turn into ghosts. So if I'm Harry, I'm definitely going to that death day party, sitting down at the ghosts and being like, where are my parents?
But they didn't take advantage of the death day
know,
party
they
like
didn't.
you guys are saying.
No, you're right. They didn't. But that's what I was thinking going into it.
yeah.
Well, you're smart.
Or boring at parties. I don't know.
And then we hear this voice again as soon as they leave. So this part actually annoys me a little bit because they can't they're not going back to the Halloween feast, or they are, but they don't get it to eat. And that it hurts me. Then Harry heard it. Rip, tear, kill. It was the same voice, the same cold, murderous voice he had heard in Lockhart's office. Again, do you think have you had any illumination on what this voice is from the previous few chapters? Do you still think it's Voldemort? Or do you still think it's something?
It's
Like
something,
Phantom?
all right.
We're looking at you, Danny.
No, I do kind of still think it's Voldemort. But also the thought crossed my mind that it could be Dumbledore. I know that's a little much because of the harshness of what he's saying, but because of what happened in the first book where Dumbledore was doing like, it sounds harsh to say manipulation, but Dumbledore is setting up like almost like challenges for Harry to face and even giving him the tools he needs to make hard decisions and learn things and pursue mysterious things. So, and getting sent to the, Forbidden Forest. So I had the thought that it could be Dumbledore, just in a very strange way, setting up Harry for something. Maybe to be ridiculed. Maybe he needed to be knocked down a peg. He needed to have people be scared of him. I'm not sure, but I play with the idea. Still am.
That's fascinating. I can't wait to revisit this theory soon. Because Dumbledore did say he has the ability to be invisible. He doesn't need an invisibility cloak to be invisible. So this could be just him sending a test. This could be actually Dumbledore himself testing him.
Right.
Huh.
Again, feels a little manipulative,
Yeah.
but maybe.
Is that in Dumbledore's character? That's a fascinating one. And then there's writing on the wall. Enemies of the air beware. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air beware. What do you think enemies of the air beware means?
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't do a
It
deep
sounds
dive
scary.
into that one.
Yeah, the air is just weird. I was like, air to what?
Yeah.
I had not heard that terminology until now. And by the end of chapter 10, what I was reading earlier today, I feel like I'm like, okay, heir to all Slytherins? Is that what it's talking about? Like each house has an heir? Because I was like, maybe. But they don't really give us much.
Do you have any guesses on who this heir is? Any theories?
Well, if Harry's hearing it, maybe it could be Harry.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Harry seems like a good guess.
Especially with what's his face that like ran away from him.
Justin.
Who was it? The kid?
Justin
Fletchley?
Yeah.
Freaking. We'll talk about Justin in a bit.
Wait, is he the one who's a Hufflepuff? The first Hufflepuff we've seen in all the books.
Yeah,
and I'm
seriously,
like,
yeah.
Justin. And then he runs away. I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
I know.
come on.
So-
represent, will you?
This will be your fun fact. Justin was accepted to a school that has a very high prime minister rate. They churn out prime ministers. So Justin comes from a very rich family, likely, and the school that he gets sent to is like one of the best boarding schools in all of England. So he is one of those people of money, like very probably somewhat in the British royal family. I feel like he's one of those like very high up people. Oh yeah. So we'll talk about that in the next few chapters.
Okay, yeah, I don't even want to know.
The school that he went to, he just feels, to me, he just gives off those vibes. We'll talk about this in a bit. I actually respect him a lot for making his decision to be Hogwarts. I think that's why he was actually placed in Hufflepuff, because he shows loyalty. He doesn't know what the wizarding world really is, but he had. It wasn't like he was going to go to Smeltings versus Hogwarts. It was like the best wizarding school versus the best Muggle school, and he chose Wizards. So has loyalty to Wizards that he doesn't even know yet. But we are on to the next chapter, which is the writing on the wall, and what happens in this chapter.
Also, at the end of that last chapter, I feel like we saw a darker side of Draco than we've seen. He got real intense.
Yeah.
And I was just starting to feel for him a little bit and be like, oh, maybe friends with Harry, whatever. And then we got to that and I was like, wait, whoa, this is too much. This is darker than normal. He grinned at the sight of the hanging immobile cat. That's a rough way to end a chapter. I was like, ooh, shoot.
This is serial killer tendencies.
And he's like chanting out, enemies of the air beware, you'll be next, mudbloods. And granted, that probably came from his father, and he's just parroting what he's heard other people say. At first, I believed him and thought, enemies of the air beware, and it is talking about the M word. But then I thought, maybe he's wrong. And in fact, maybe all the Slytherins are wrong in what they think it means, but hard to tell. It's all just mysterious and stories at the moment.
Yeah. So in this, what happens in the writing on the wall chapter?
Harry, Ron, and Hermione get blamed for the cat's death by Filch, but Dumbledore comes to the rescue and kind of gets them out of that blame. Hermione finagles the story of the Chamber of Secrets out of Professor Binns, which sends them on a wild goose chase to find who the heir of Slytherin is.
So Filch gets very upset. He goes, he screeched, you've murdered my cat. You've killed her. I'll kill you. So here's the question. We're going back to pet ownership here. Do you think it is an appropriate response to murder someone for murdering your pet?
I mean, was he like really serious?
I feel like Filch was for sure serious.
That's a little much.
From. Well, that's how you would feel with Wes.
If someone killed Wes, I'm going after them. My dog.
Like, it doesn't seem that unreasonable a response, but I just don't understand why he thought it was Harry immediately. He was positive.
Do you
He
think...
doesn't like Harry, does he?
No.
He doesn't
like
Harry.
anybody.
I was going to say, I
that's
feel like
true.
he doesn't like any of the kids.
But then they were caught there. And
They
he's
kind of were, yeah.
and he knows that Harry's always sneaking around or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he
So-
definitely doesn't like him.
Who else would
So
be?
McGonagall can transform into a cat. Do you think Mrs. Norris has any tie or can transform into anything? Like maybe she is a permanently transformed cat?
She's cursed.
Cursed?
No.
Oh, man.
Filch's
if it was his wife?
was cursed
Oh my god.
to be a cat forever.
Maybe that's why he
And
is
that's
so
why he's
protective
so-
of
And
the
that's why
cat.
he
Yeah.
wants
All
to
over
learn the
that, for
magic.
sure.
He wants to take the class, right?
To transform her back.
Oh, my goodness.
Transform her back.
Whoa.
The pieces are coming together.
Great theory.
Guys, I like that.
Yes.
Does it give you more respect now that Mrs. Norris has been petrified?
Well, now I know why he wants to kill someone.
Right. That.
If that's
Yeah.
true.
Makes you have more sympathy for Filch too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that cat is like his life. I feel like.
And I actually, it humanizes him to see him get passionate about this too, because I'm like, he clearly loves this cat. So if you can love something, that's a step in the right direction.
Sorry, I'm eating this toffee right now. I gotta swallow it, and I'll ask you questions. Wow.
Save them for the end.
All right, so this line, after Mrs. Norris, after they're meeting together, this line pops out of nowhere. "If I might speak, headmaster," said Snape from the shadows. And Harry's sense of foreboding increased. He was sure nothing Snape was going to say was going to do him any good. Potter and his friends may have simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time, he said. Why did Snape defend the trio?
It seems suspicious.
Yeah, but he didn't really.
I feel like it was like a little
wasn't there a
red
line-
herring. He like defended them for
A second.
a line and then instantly was like
Yeah, I'm trying to.
setting up a little trap.
The next line was great. He goes, "I didn't see them at the feast." And Ron goes, "We weren't hungry," said Ron loudly as his stomach gave a huge rumble.
Yeah,
Love that so much. But this is another question that I have that has to do even with what we were talking about with how they became friends. Why didn't they tell the truth then? Why didn't Harry tell the truth about what he heard?
I know, that annoyed me.
I feel like he's fearful of it.
Afraid of the voice?
Yeah, and even because he doesn't understand it, so I don't know if he's ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good point, because I think he's so fearful of things that he doesn't understand in this universe that if something truly was ominous and bad, he would probably fear being expelled. Like maybe he doesn't know, but maybe like hearing voices at Hogwarts means you get expelled, and he's fearful of that. So he goes to the people he truly can trust, which is Ron and Hermione, and he tells them.
That knows so much.
I know, exactly.
I thought he was just going to wait and tell Dumbledore later.
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah.
odd.
Or like in secret, right? Like
Yeah.
off to the
Yeah.
side. just
Because
the
I
two
get
of them.
why you wouldn't want to say that around, Snape or something. But Dumbledore? Come on now.
So then after this, Harry tells the trio, he tells his friends that Filch is a squib. So this is something that I want to talk about a little bit before, but we talked about Petunia. Do you think it's possible that Petunia could be a squib? Because we were talking about the parents.
Yeah, I really do.
And maybe bitterness grew out of that?
That
Yep.
I could see.
Yeah.
But here's another question for you too. Do you think that Ron is showing bias? He's offended at the word mudblood, but he sniggers at the word squib.
I did feel like there were a few moments with Ron in this chapter where I was like, he felt a little bitter, a little like, he was just a little mean, a little, maybe not kind. Still love Ron, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, that felt a little different.
Or maybe they just use that term so loosely.
Yeah. But it's definitely a derogatory term for someone who was born to magical parents who doesn't have the magical gift. I feel like it's a derogatory term. It has that feel to it. So I don't know. That's another interesting question about what we were talking with the bias idea, I think last podcast, where you can say one thing but not another. Or we were talking about it in this one, I think. Time flies. So it's like you have bias for one thing but not for another. Like you're blind to one thing. Even with the house elves thing. I think that's what we were talking about it with.
Yeah.
And then something interesting happens where it says the clock chimed midnight after the meeting with Dumbledore. How long was the feast going on till?
They eat late
Yeah.
all the time.
Like their dinners are dinner starts at 10:30.
Kristen would die.
I'm like, 2 dinners are done and I'm asleep. At that time.
She would literally die.
Wait, do they have breakfast and lunch at Hogwarts? They never talk about
Yeah,
that.
I think so. They talk about it in a little bit. Like when they're going to play Quidditch, the team goes down and they eat a little bit of breakfast.
Oh.
And in the chapter, like Harry, when he was going to play Quidditch, was like mad because Ron and Hermione came out an hour later and they had toast for him from the
Maybe
Great
it's
Hall.
like an open cafeteria for
Yeah.
breakfast and
Yeah.
lunch.
Buffet
It's a
style.
family meal
Not
for
as
dinner.
formal.
I like that actually. That's kind of fun. Little Hogwarts family meal. So what do you think the Chamber of Secrets is? Because the Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Do you actually think that this thing exists? Because this is where we get information, like an information download on it, with Professor Binns.
Oh yeah, I love that. That was great. When he's just going, he's like, "Oh, legends," and he tried to skip over Hermione, and Hermione's like, "But don't all legends start with facts or something like that?" And then he was like, "Well, I'll tell you the facts," and then he just tell the story. And I love how all the students were like glued to the story. But those are all. That's just legend. It's
So
not
what does this story tell? What did this story like? Give me a recap of this story.
It was that I don't know his first name, Slytherin, that started. So all 4 wizards came and started Hogwarts, and they built it. And Slytherin was one of the originals, and they all worked together. And then at some point, Slytherin wasn't happy that there was mixing, so mudbloods. He wanted pure bloods only, and that's where he disagreed with the other houses, and then he decided to build, or they said that he then built a private chamber in Hogwarts that no one else knew about, and that the heir would be able to open it, so that way they could turn, I think this is where I forget, but they could turn the school into only pure bloods and get rid of all the mudbloods.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I would change there is that it's actually to purge the school of all who are unworthy
Yes.
to study magic.
Okay.
So we're saying it could be based on purity or whatever they're saying, but I'm kind of hoping it isn't.
No, but that's how he said it, isn't it?
Well, I think that's the actual quote from what he said.
Oh, you're
According to
quoting the book.
legend.
And these are the implications
unworthy.
too that we get, because this is like Ron's little dialogue in Hagrid's hut about what people think of as being pure blood. They think they're better than others. Seems to be like the thread that's going throughout this idea. And then this chamber, Slytherin has a monster. What do you think this monster actually is?
Unleash a horror within. Is a horror a monster? Maybe. Could be a
plague.
Plague. Yep. Could be some spell that does something to a certain number of people. Oh, also we know how old Hogwarts is, because he tells it at the beginning that it was founded over 1,000 years ago.
We should go and take ruin samples of the castle at Loch Ness.
Yes.
Carbon date it.
You guys met your match. Like, this is a perfect
But it
match.
also it does confirm then that nearly headless Nick died at Hogwarts when it was Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Because that was 600 years ago.
Yeah.
So at some point in there.
And
Yep.
then we know Moaning Myrtle died in Hogwarts too, 'cause she haunts the bathroom. But what are your thoughts on Moaning Myrtle?
I don't know why she made me
forget how
laugh.
Everyone was being so mean to her.
I know. I
Like,
know.
oh no. Poor Myrtle.
I know.
Wait, she was like depressed.
she's
or
so
something,
dramatic.
Is Colin Creevy the living version of Moaning Myrtle?
Oh my gosh.
Well, people make fun of him so bad that he ends up dying on the premises and
Oh,
he becomes
Colin.
a ghost. The
Wait,
ghost
she
Colin
killed
Creevy.
herself? Is that what happened? I don't even remember her story.
You don't really know what her story is
Oh,
yet.
okay. That's why.
I think it's assumed that because she gets picked on so much probably, but you don't really know her
And then
story.
it's sad that as like a ghost, she still has the same
I know.
feelings. I'm like, you don't like grow
Yeah.
out of that, or like I don't know.
Can you still
Grow
get
out of that.
pimples when you're a ghost? Goodness gracious.
Oh, that was
Life's
so-
rough and death is too.
Just stuck in that state. Oh gosh, no.
It's terrible.
This is great. Moaning Myrtle is young in the books, but in the movies, it's played by like this 40-year-old woman who plays a teenager, and it's excellent. It's so phenomenal. But then Moaning Myrtle does something when she jumps back into the bathroom, which is she splashes water all over the bathroom.
Is she a poltergeist?
I know. I was thinking that.
I thought so too. So this is something that I didn't really know when I looked it up, and this isn't no spoilers, obviously. But Rowling has written on this. Ghosts can pass through solid objects without causing damage to themselves or material, but create disturbances in water, fire, and air. The temperature drops in the immediate vicinity of a ghost. An effect intensified if many congregate in the same place. Their appearance can also turn flames blue. Should part or all of a ghost pass through a living creature, the latter will experience a freezing sensation as though they have been plunged into cold water. So they can move fire, water, and ice minimally.
Interesting.
Fun little fact. There's a fun fact for the day.
No, that does make sense.
And then they learn about Polyjuice Potion here, which is the penultimate question: is who would you transform into if you had a little bit of Polyjuice Potion?
I think it would be cool just for like a day, like someone famous. I don't know who, just to see what that would be like, because it would only last a day, maybe.
True.
So Jen's going for someone famous.
Oh gosh, no, it sounds terrible.
No, it would be
Fun to
interesting.
experience that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like I feel like I'd want to save it to like use it for something important, but then what important could it possibly be, you know?
Yeah.
But being someone famous would be cool.
This is funny. Do you guys know the basketball player Klay Thompson? Plays in the Warriors.
Yes.
There is a human being who's like a prank YouTuber who looks
saw that video.
exactly like Klay Thompson. And he snuck onto the court and everyone thought it was Klay Thompson, and he started shooting some jump shots during their warm-up.
way.
And then I think Klay Thompson walks out and people were so confused. Like the security realized it wasn't actually Klay Thompson. And they like ushered him off, and he has like a lifetime ban on that arena now.
Oh
But he looks
so
Syrian,
absurd.
so
He
how
looks-
can he have a lifetime
No,
ban?
you can just walk in. Hey, what's
Just
up?
keep
I'm
doing
Klay.
it again. Yeah. It's so great.
You guys have any idea who you transform into?
I don't know. It's such a random question.
I feel like it would also be funny to prank my brother because he's always doing pranks. So like to be like my dad or my mom, and like in some situation just get him good.
That would be
Or
great.
Carly.
Great
Oh
prank
my
potential.
gosh. Or Everly, and then my little niece do something crazy to freak him out,
Freak people out.
or make him feel like she's an actual genius. Like just like
Oh, like
that's
that.
so good.
That would be
Like,
funny.
Carly, we have to bring her somewhere. She's gonna be a brilliant genius or whatever. I don't
That'd
know.
be so good.
That would be so funny. Just because he gets me so good all the time.
I don't know I don't know who I transform into either for this. It'd be a tough one.
I'm coming up blank.
I think I might go with Jen, so like someone famous or like something like that for a day. That'd kind of be fun.
Prank your family would be like so great.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could do it. My sister-in-law is a master prank person, so getting her would be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, on to chapter 10. The last chapter, the Rogue Bludger. What happens in this chapter?
Oh no, I didn't write anything down. This is on you guys.
All right. Well, this one's the one where they have a Quidditch match, and Harry did win for the team, but he broke his arm in the process. And Lockhart tries to fix it, kind of makes it worse, maybe.
My God.
And then Dobby comes back. And then it ends pretty intensely with someone getting petrified.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
I gotta say, there was a
Poor
line in
Colin.
this where Gilderoy Lockhart gave them homework. Compose a poem about my defeat of the Wagga Wagga werewolf. Signed copies of Magical Me to the author of the best one. I was gonna text you guys before this and being like, "Hi guys, I need a poem about Gilderoy Lockhart," and then we would read them and compare. How fun
that's
would that be,
awesome.
guys? We could do that for the next podcast. If you want to write a poem about Gilderoy Lockhart's great achievement of defeating the Wagga Wagga werewolf.
Danny writes poems, you can do it.
All right. Excellent. I'm down.
I might be in.
Well,
And
we'd all
you.
have to do it, or at least when another opportunity
How
comes
about
along.
you two?
I'm
guys-
still glad you didn't ask us to sing the Hogwarts song because I thought that was going to happen back then. But we could at least write a poem. How easy is that in comparison?
No.
Do you write poems?
I don't write. Not at all.
Okay.
Barely write my name.
You said you didn't read, and look at you now.
You know what?
Shay.
One thing at a time. I can only handle one thing at a time.
Okay, but in this chapter, Lockhart's signature is loopy because he's signing something it's like very squiggly, very loopy. Do you think you could tell a lot about a person from their signature?
No.
I don't think so.
There's actually like a whole book written on the signature
I knew there
and
was
handwriting,
something on
handwriting
this.
What
does it say?
Analytics, analyzation,
Analysis?
analysis. That's the word
There
I
it
was
is.
looking for.
All of the above apply.
Getting late.
It's late. It's late.
So what does it say?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't.
I remember
recitate
there
the whole
was
thing
part
to
of
you.
that one of the chapters was on serial killers, and apparently a lot of murderers write in a way where their letters slant to the left instead of to the right.
Whoa,
So the fact that that's identifiable is kind of creepy.
that is kind of
weird.
creepy.
That is
Yep.
weird.
So maybe his signature has some hidden stuff in it.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's just foreshadowing Harry's arm. The squiggliness. of his
Oh gosh,
handwriting.
yeah.
But this chapter also gave a little bit more credence to the theory that Gilderoy is not that good of a wizard.
But
Couldn't
why
even-
does he always want to come in and
I
be
know.
like
If you're
this
not good, you'd think
hero?
you'd like kind of
Yeah.
hide it a little bit, or like, we'll bring you to the nurse. But he like jumps in as if he's gonna be good at this.
I think
weird.
I think this is just something different with like someone who thinks so highly of themselves. Like they want to do all this stuff. They like are great, but they know they're not. But they still like have a yearning desire to. look cool.
Or is he hiding, hurting Harry by being like, "Let me do this.
Oh my gosh!
Let me come over here and pretend like I suck at being a wizard."
But he's really good, and he's like implanting something in Harry's arm or something like that.
Yeah, like okay, now you can't do
Now
any
you're trapped in a
spells, and
medical
now
wing,
you're gonna be
in
the
pain,
hospital
getting bones
or
regrown.
something.
Jen.
That's fascinating.
Or is
Very
that coming
interesting.
from watching the movie? I don't know. I don't remember.
All right. Well, we'll see. No spoilers.
I don't know what a spoiler is.
I still like the theory. It's great.
But even before this, so this is the chapter where obviously the rogue bludger happens, and we need to talk about this again. But how incompetent is Madame Hooch?
Ugh.
Oh yeah, you love her.
Harry Potter has pretty much had 2 assassination attempts. He's played 3 Quidditch games, and 2 of the 3 Quidditch games he's played in, he has almost been assassinated.
And weren't those her 2 games?
Those are her 2 games, the 2 games that she's repped. So
boy.
do you think that Madame Hooch could be the orchestrator behind these? Obviously, we know she wasn't in the first. But maybe she's like the grand orchestrator.
Oh.
Or maybe she is Slytherin and she just allowed. Well, I don't know if they're actually Slytherin. Well, yeah, because Voldemort. I'll go with that. That maybe she is a Slytherin, if that's possible, and she just turns an eye away from things that are going on to harm Harry. But she's not causing it, but she's not helping either. Why is she Madam Hooch? Like, what is the difference between professor and a madam? Am I an idiot?
I guess.
Oh, no, I
I
didn't
guess
even-
she's
I'd
kind of
never
like the
even
same.
noticed
that,
Yeah,
though.
that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I guess she's kind of like the same as like a Hagrid, or
But
like a
Hagrid
Filch.
doesn't have like a Mr.
I don't know.
Maybe
a
there
great
are
question.
extra responsibilities, but I'm trying to think of what.
Maybe it's like we have people who have master's degrees and doctors. You call it doctors.
Maybe she's below professor since she's terrible.
Right. She's an associate professor.
Because they realize she's incompetent, so they're like, you know what? We're not calling you professor anymore. We're calling you madam. You get a little respect, but not a lot. Should this Quidditch match have been called off?
I mean, something should have been done.
Yeah.
Like, how did no one else realize that it was Fred and George were right next to Harry the entire time?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And then they call a timeout, and it's like, "Oh, are you done yet? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you not see what's going on?"
That part annoyed
Right.
me so
Yeah.
much. I was like, Madam Hooch, do your job. Literally protect the students from getting assassinated by this rogue bludger.
You have one job.
I know, honestly. Again, this is like such a fault in this Quidditch system, and that there's a bunch of students with wands that can do magic, and like nothing is being done. There's been magic that's happened in 3 of these games, and probably maybe even it would have happened in Harry's other game had he not caught the snitch very fast.
Oh, true.
But sometimes when you're like watching a train wreck, you just like can't look away, and you're just like frozen. So like, I wonder if that's even if they could all do spells, they're just like, What?
Yeah, it's kind of true. And Madam Hooch is in that gang too.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
so,
But then the
annoys me.
professors don't really have. I don't know.
Yeah.
They should do something.
Then Harry breaks a bone. Have you guys ever broken a bone?
no,
No, thank God.
the same answers for
Whoa.
everything. No, I definitely should have broken bones. I've been like in dance. I was dropped from over my dance partner's head several times. Not his fault, mine mostly. But I landed on my wrists on hardwood
didn't
floor.
break 'em?
I didn't break anything. I hit my chin. I was dropped on my nose. I got strong bones apparently.
Wow.
Awesome.
I don't think I've ever confirmed a broken bone, but I think I've probably broken 2 bones. I think I've broken one in my ankle in a soccer game. And it wasn't like fully confirmed, but I went to a trainer and they like moved things certain ways and they were like, you might have like a fracture in there. But then I just wrapped it up and kept playing.
Did nothing. Awesome.
Not that day. I was out for like 2 weeks and then I limped the rest of the season and played. And then I think the first time I went snowboarding, I think I broke my tailbone
Oh my
because
gosh.
I fell off so much and I didn't know what I was doing. And I remember I couldn't sit down for like a month. It was like, I sat down, but like it was absolutely agony to sit down for like a
that
month.
must have been so painful.
I did break Morgan Storm's
Bruised your
tailbone
coccyx.
when I took a chair away from him when he was about to sit down and he fell really hard and I think he broke his tailbone.
wind knocked
He had to
out
walk
him?
around with a cane for like 2 weeks after that.
You get detention for
I
that?
felt so bad. Oh my
Is that
god.
detention
You didn't get
worthy?
detention for
No, it was in
Wow.
lunch
Nice.
because you don't get detentions in lunch, I guess.
that? Oh, boy.
That's terrible.
I've did everything but broken a bone. That close.
You got scars. I was thinking, you
Plenty.
told that one story about this guy who crashed on top of you in the playground.
Yeah.
Was that anybody in this room?
No.
Like because you said it very suspiciously on the podcast. You were like,
That's funny.
some boy fell down on me in the playground, and I didn't catch it in the moment. But when I listened
When
to
you're
that
re-listening,
again,
you're like,
I'm like,
huh.
was Jen implying that like me or Danny were
we don't
playing?
remember.
We just don't remember, and she remembers.
She's been holding
clearly.
a grudge waiting for this moment her whole life.
That would have been great, but
That
no.
was so great. Okay, I'm
goodness.
it's relief. Right
What if
there.
I said yes? What would you do?
That'd been a great story.
Yeah.
I hope you're.
I
over
want
it.
my apology
bad.
handwritten note.
Send him a
for
howler.
sure.
Send him a howler.
Danny, have you broken a bone? Unconfirmed.
Yeah, unconfirmed. Same thing.
I love how the guys are unconfirmed. broken
Well, I was
bones.
doing a handstand during one of those like physical fitness things in gym class. And Coach Brain at the time, she was supposed to hold my legs, and she was, but I thought she was holding them from both sides, but only one. So then, like, I'm the one at the example in front of the class. This is how you do a handstand. And then I just come smashing down, and I just kicked the gym floor so hard. But I was in front of the whole class, so play it off, limp around, whatever. And I just like limped around for a while, and then like 5 or 6 weeks later, it was like recess or something, and I go out to kick a football, and I felt like I kicked my foot off. It was like I contacted that football, and I was just like, I'm done. I will die right here. Like I was just on the ground, like it was so bad.
Did you break?
I still did not tell anyone. Why didn't I go to my mom? She's literally a nurse, and I like didn't say a thing. So another like week or two goes by. I finally was like limping around. She probably saw me limping, so she's like, "We're getting this X-rayed." We get it X-rayed, and the doctor's like, "Looks like you broke something like 6 weeks ago, and looks like you broke something last week."
Oh,
So I had 2 breaks, separate spots on my foot. And he's like, at this point, it's already starting to fuse. Wear a boot, use some crutches if you want, but no cast or anything. I said, great. So
That is so funny.
Do you remember this happening? Were you there?
at the time, I think it was just like I was trying not to make a big deal of it. I was
Yeah,
that kid who
obviously I don't
never
remember it
wanted to
'cause you
like
didn't wear a
go to
boot.
the nurse or anything. Yeah,
Well,
like I don't mind
someone's
attention, especially in
crashing.
5th grade, but not that kind of attention. So I was just like, I don't want to be that
Wow.
guy.
I don't remember that. I wish I remembered that.
Kristen, also, I have a theory. You had a milkman. Strong bones. Calcium. There it is.
like, where is this going?
Oh my! That is so great.
So this is why we all should have done that, and maybe none of us would have
I know,
broken
if we all had a
bones.
milkman, we'd
Thank
be
you.
good.
Yep, local farms. You
I
know.
didn't break any bones, for the record. just dislocated them.
Yeah, Jenn is notorious for dislocating your bones. Playing volleyball.
Different. Both times was volleyball. Yeah. And plenty of head injuries.
Oh.
That explains.
But Harry goes to the hospital wing because he has no bones. Because good old. You have another story?
Nope. Yes, but nope.
Because good old Gilderoy Lockhart makes his arm jello. This is when Dobby comes to visit in the night. And there's two really good lines in here that I think just help establish and then help us understand who Dobby is. And one of them is this. Harry remarks about his pillowcase, and Dobby goes, "This, sir?" said Dobby, plucking at his pillowcase. "'Tis a mark of the house elves' enslavement, sir. Dobby can only be freed if his masters present him with clothes, sir. The family is careful to not pass even a sock to Dobby, sir, for then he would be free to leave their house forever." Honestly, until I read that, I did not know how many times he said sir. And it's like an interesting little point. Like, he has such respect for Harry. Because his next line, he says, "If he knew what he meant to us, to the lowly, the enslaved, us dregs of the magical world. Dobby remembers how it was when he who must not be named was at the height of his power, sir. We house elves were treated like vermin, sir. Of course, Dobby is still treated like that, sir. But mostly, life has improved for my kind since you triumphed over he who must not be named. Harry Potter survived and the Dark Lord's power was broken, and it was a new dawn, sir. And Harry Potter shone like a beacon of hope for those who thought the dark days would never end, sir." Man. Dobby has a way with words.
Yeah.
What do you think Dobby's deal is, though? Is he still annoying?
Yes.
Do you have more sympathy for him now?
Yeah.
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 Kinda.
Why are we always the
No,
opposite?
I do
he
have
stands
sympathy.
up for Gilroy, whatever, Lockhart.
Sometimes it's because that's how I actually feel. Sometimes I just feel like got to bring balance. You know?
Yeah.
We can't all just be like ditto. You know?
Really? Ditto is a very great word.
She's like, it's my favorite word.
Maybe I'm just feeling confrontational. No, but I was just annoyed with the bludger thing. I'm like, he just comes up with all these crazy ideas to try and get Harry to do certain things. And I'm like, just like use your words, talk to him, come up with a deal, like figure it out in a better way. Because his heart's in the right place. But why is he like doing all this stuff to try and manipulate Harry into doing what he thinks is best instead of trusting Harry to make that decision for himself by giving him all the information?
And the bludger thing was really dangerous.
Yeah.
He's got to regrow 30 bones right now.
Right.
Or 33.
That is because of Lockhart.
Yeah, well,
Okay?
to be fair. But that's what Dobby's doing. He's creating wild card moments. You can't predict what's going to happen when you start doing all these crazy things. So in Dobby's mind, it's simple. It's straightforward. You know, do this, end result is this. But it hasn't worked out the right way yet. So he should probably stop doing crazy stuff.
But I have a hard time that a house elf has that much magic power.
He seems pretty magical.
Like, how? You're a house elf. How are you allowed to do any magic?
I get the idea that like critters like goblins and elves are just better at magic. Like it almost feels like some of the stuff they invented and humans are just trying to like get good at it to match them.
What?
I'm just making that up, but
Interesting.
that's kind of it almost feels like it comes naturally to him. He didn't have to go to Hogwarts. Dobby isn't studying magic. He just knows how to do it. I
Or
made that
is
up on the
he
spot.
just...
But that's how it kind of feels when I'm reading it, you know?
He's a cover-up for something.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
I feel like I'll talk this way.
Jen, I told you my facial expressions are just going to be
I don't
intrigued
know
at
if you-
everything you
but
say.
I feel like you don't know what your face looks like sometimes.
I need to look in the mirror, Vera said. Albus Dumbledore. They bring in a petrified student after they have this whole long discussion, and even like on the Dobby's discussion too. I think there's a lot of characters in this book that come in this specific book that are annoying characters that Harry has to deal with, and they're on a spectrum of annoyance. Like Colin Creevey has a lot of similarities to Dobby in certain ways. Like you were saying, how maybe there's like some sympathy for Dobby, but he's doing everything in the wrong way. Like you have sympathy for him, you like understand his story now, but he's like going about it in the wrong way. Just use your words. If he uses words like he did here, like saying these eloquent, beautiful words, maybe Harry would be more apt to listen to him. And in the same way, this is why I love Colin, because I feel like he's got something deep in him that's like yearning for acceptance and love. He's new to this magical world, just like Harry was, but he's annoying and he's going about it almost in the wrong way. He's like not respecting boundaries. And it's like interesting because there's a lot of people I think in all of our lives that do that and that like don't respect boundaries and like can like really struggle to like become friends with you. And you'd be friends with these person in real life, but if they go off the deep ends and they don't like respect your boundaries, it's hard to actually establish those friendships. And I think this is one of those cases. Like Moaning Myrtle, Colin Creevey, and Dobby are 3 great examples. Even Gilderoy Lockhart to a weird extent. Maybe he's like the person that's come out of this, not older than Moaning Myrtle, but like maybe the person that's come out of this is like the one that has the deepest hurt, because maybe he was hurt the most when he was a kid.
Maybe.
Anyway, Dumbledore says he finds this student who is petrified, who is our good old Colin. Oh, so sad. And Albus Dumbledore was on the way downstairs for hot chocolate. Do you think Dumbledore was really getting hot chocolate?
Yeah.
Or to Danny's theory,
What?
could this voice be Dumbledore?
Oh.
And him be setting up things for Harry to do?
Like a test, like you were saying.
I also love just the purity of the idea that Dumbledore was going down for hot chocolate. I just
Yeah,
love
I was
that.
gonna say,
that is also great.
Like I liked in the Mirror of Erised
Yeah,
that he wanted
the
socks.
socks.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Just get some hot chocolate,
Yeah,
dude.
I know.
Enjoy it.
He's a simple man.
And then he's Gryffindor because he likes chocolate.
Yeah, he took his quiz. He took his online sorting quiz, and he was like, "I like chocolate frogs, hot chocolate."
I'm in Gryffindor.
And then Colin Creevey gets brought into the wing, and then Dumbledore says this line: "The question is not who," said Dumbledore, his eyes on Colin. "The question is how." What does he mean?
They probably locked it up somehow. Dumbledore put a spell on it, or someone. And how is like, how did they figure out how to undo the spell to open it up? Maybe?
Wasn't it locked before Dumbledore?
Mhm.
So maybe he couldn't figure it out. Maybe that bothers him.
Yeah, seriously.
How did whoever opened this get it open?
But they have to be an heir of Slytherin to open it.
Right. Oh.
Dumbledore wouldn't.
So Dumbledore's not
Oh,
an
yeah,
heir of
yeah,
Slytherin, yeah. Maybe we know that. Maybe. We're not sure yet, but
I love how you throw out these things.
any other theories? Any other ideas on these chapters?
Not sure.
I also loved how they were like, let's see if he has the photos of who it was. But then it was
right.
like melted plastic.
Yeah. That would have been great.
But
It
then that
also
doesn't
felt like
make
they opened
sense.
the back of that camera prematurely.
Yeah, I
They would
know.
have exposed it
Yep.
to light and ruined the photos anyway.
Because they're wizards, they don't understand how this stuff works.
This
I also-
muggle contraption.
Yeah. I love that Colin developed the film in that magic potion, and then it made the images move. Like Harry was like yearning to get out of the picture in that one little scene. I love
yes.
that. Good image.
He says the question is not who. Is that because he already knows who?
Yeah, maybe. Do you
Or
think?
he just isn't concerned about who did it and just wants to figure out how? He knows a lot of stuff. He
I feel
might
like
know.
he would know who, but maybe not how. Like you're saying.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, so it's never been opened before?
No, it has definitely been opened before.
That's what I thought.
Well, just because
right?
I highlighted a couple times where it means, said Dumbledore, that the Chamber of Secrets is indeed open again.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
at least saying open again from when it was created, but they also could be saying open again like it's been opened at some point in the past. I mean, these stories came from somewhere. Did the stories last 1,000 years? Or has the chamber been opened in those 1,000 years a couple times?
Great questions. Great questions. We'll find out more as we keep reading through Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. What was your guys' favorite moment in these 5 chapters?
I was like more annoyed most of these chapters than enjoying them.
But I think you loved the way that it ended. Because you even texted us before you came. This chapter ended so good.
Thanks, John. Expose me.
No, Jen,
No,
I'm
that's
not
great.
exposing you.
I'm just
You know how many
kidding.
Harry Potter nerds like me want to hear that stuff?
Because I just want to keep reading and we're on a schedule now.
But now that we're caught up, it's great. We're literally finishing the book like the
know.
day we record. So then as soon as we leave here, we can start reading again.
Yay. And then Dumbledore was so concerned with McGonagall about, what's his name, Colin being petrified. It was like an emergency ER scene where like, hurry, get what's her name to come heal. Which I still find very interesting that Dumbledore has to go to her
Right.
to heal people.
And this, again, is feeding that idea that they don't care about broken bones or trees that smash children, because they're just like, you know what, whatever happens, we'll heal them. They've got some powerful healing stuff here, as long as annoying, arrogant teachers don't make things worse before the students get there.
But then that also is like, makes me think, okay, who, like, their powers, like what is their specialty?
Yeah. Because I'm sure Dumbledore probably could mend the bone, but I feel like there's like a way, it's almost like maybe this is a bad analogy, but like the parent, like when you're hurt or something like that, usually you'll go to like one parent over the other, because both parents can probably fix the issue, but one parent is generally like more tender, kind, loving, helpful in certain ways. I feel like it's almost the same with wizards. Like Madame Pomfrey, I feel like, I'm sure some people can heal bones, but I feel like she just can heal it better with like kindness. She can like put kindness into the spell and like make things
And
like
Dumbledore
feel better.
Wouldn't have that.
I feel like Dumbledore could, but I feel like Dumbledore respects the magic of other wizards.
Yeah.
and
She's
their
got the
abilities.
woman's touch.
And some of these things also
Ranking.
take time. Dumbledore's time is very valuable.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have necessarily the time to sit there and be finessing these growth, bone growth things and
He was
potions
standing
and
there the
spells.
whole time.
Yeah, I mean, he would do a good job, I'm sure, but not as good. I still think they have specialties.
Yeah.
Healing's just not.
Yeah, I do too. It's just interesting to see it like play out.
What do you think your guys' favorite moment in these chapters is?
I think I'm gonna go. I did write something down. I forgot. I think I'm gonna go with when Hermione convinced Harry and Ron to break the rules. I thought that was like a swap.
Yeah, I love that.
I liked that little switcheroo in her personality there.
I don't know. I feel like it was an interesting set of chapters, but the moment that I'm thinking of is where Ron is trying to defend Hermione's honor, even though he messed it up. But just jumping to her defense real fast, trying to start a fight, even though he cast the spell on himself and was spitting out slugs for a day. It was still, good heart, good try, Ron.
I think that was probably my favorite moment too, because my favorite moment in the last one was Mr. Malfoy fighting Mr.
Oh, yes.
fights that happen. I love this one too, because it's like he's defending the honor of Hermione. I mean, he just does it immediately, and everyone does it. Like the twins go and jump in. It's like as soon as this happens, there's the Gryffindor team that will fight you if you say something wrong against someone like that. I would love to see what Hufflepuffs would do in this situation. The loyal ones, if you say something bad, maybe they would have just absolutely murdered Malfoy, which would have been great.
I also like that.
Who I did say I have
absolute
sympathy for him
murder.
before, so
I like that afterwards, Hagrid, he said they haven't invented a spell our Hermione can't do. Saying our Hermione just feels like this little family that I thought was adorable.
That is cute.
And even I loved Ron's dialogue section in this, where Ron is essentially explaining how some wizarding families think they're better than others. And his whole idea of growing up in this situation where his family is a humble family that doesn't think of themselves more highly than other people. And him just reciting this, you can see that it's ingrained within Ron and his family that they don't think they're better than other people. And the way he speaks, I think, speaks massively of that fact. Who is your favorite character in these 5 chapters. Lockhart, Jen?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Definitely. Maybe going off of your thing, Kristen, with Hermione, like getting them to swap roles.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then being sneaky about getting like the note to go into the restricted area.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. Watch, it's gonna work. I'm gonna do it. And it worked.
I'll go with Moaning Myrtle. I don't know why.
Moaning Myrtle?
Honestly, me
She's,
too.
I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's like weirdly annoying, but funny to me.
And I feel bad for her. I'm like, I want to give her a hug. Poor
Right?
Myrtle.
Yeah. It's a random character to go with, but I'm going with her.
Yeah, it was either her or Colin for me. So
Yeah, I'm going with Colin or Hermione. I think Hermione just had a solid few chapters in this. Like her innocence, but she's great. And then I just love Colin. He's so annoying, but like he's such a challenge for Harry.
yeah.
That's why you love it.
Yeah. I think he's great. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the first time readers. Thank you so much for listening. We are really, really appreciative of all of our listeners. We have either a few people or one person who's really dedicated in Jerusalem, listening in Jerusalem. So if you're from Jerusalem, drop us a review. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to read one of your reviews online. Thanks for the support from Jerusalem, from Israel. We have people all over the world listening, so we are so thankful for you listeners. It's the best. We love doing this.